at anybody very long. Besides, it is true. I am kind of stuck on him.
Hollywood legend has it that Lana was discovered sipping a soda in the famous Schwab's drugstore, a myth that she gladly debunked for E.T. in 1983.
No, I was not discovered at Schwab's drugstore on Sunset Boulevard. No, 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 and why won't the people believe me? Why does this myth persist? Please believe me.
The real story is almost as good. The publisher of The Hollywood Reporter spotted 15-year-old Julia Jean Mildred Frances Turner cutting classes at the Top Hat Cafe across from Hollywood High School. She left typing class to become an MGM starlet. Her early publicity built her up as the Sweater Girl, a sexy label she hated, but one that Lana wanted to put in proper perspective.
Now they don't even wear the sweaters, so you see.
Even with this sexy buildup, the studio featured her in such innocent fare as Love Finds Andy Hardy, opposite Mickey Rooney.
Can't you think of something else to do?
Well, we could take a walk.
And Ziegfeld Girl, where she played a spangled chorus girl serenaded by Tony Martin. She worked opposite MGM's biggest male stars. Clark Gable found her to be a handful in Honky Tonk.
Smells kind of good for such an old trick.
I'm afraid you think I dropped it on purpose.
No, of course not, honey. That's the last thing you do.
And she was perfectly cast as the villainous Lady De Winter in The Three Musketeers, opposite Gene Kelly. But it was the role of Cora Smith, the sexy murderess of The Postman Always Rings Twice, that established Lana as the queen of MGM's 1940s sex symbols. James M. Cain's steamy novel had been deemed unfilmable by MGM for more than 10 years, mainly because of Cora's highly sexual nature. The film's director thought an all-white wardrobe would make Lana's character appear less sensuous. It didn't work.
The screen crackled. The director took it up to that moment and then cut and left the rest to the public's imagination. Now that is magic, and that's what makes chemistry.
The seductive roles she played were magnified in Lana's private life, which was anything but private. Lana liked men. She was married and divorced 7 times, notably to bandleader Artie Shaw and movie Tarzan Lex Barker. But Lana told E.T. that she resented the tabloid image of a man-hungry pushover.
That's what I mean. They feel they have the right to say, oh, Lana Turner, I dated her. Well, that's a crock. Check with me. I know who I dated.
After her divorce from Barker, she was courted by mobster Johnny Stompanato, one of gang lord Mickey Cohen's bodyguards. A good-looking, extremely violent man, Stompanato reportedly beat Lana severely when she returned from the 1958 Oscar ceremonies. 9 days later, on the night of Good Friday, April 4th, 1958, Lana's 15-year-old daughter Cheryl overheard a violent quarrel in her mother's bedroom and heard Stompanato threaten her mother with disfigurement and worse. The teenager grabbed a butcher knife from the kitchen and, believing Stompanato was going to strike her mother, plunged the 8-inch blade into his abdomen, severing his aorta. The mobster was dead in minutes. Cheryl was booked on suspicion of murder, and Hollywood had its biggest scandal since Fatty Arbuckle. Lana engaged hotshot Hollywood attorney Jerry Giesler, the Robert Shapiro of his day, whose past clients had included Errol Flynn and Charlie Chaplin. Now, Lana found her life on full display before an insatiable tabloid press.
That was very hellish, because I being gullible and vulnerable, I thought, well, I'm just living my life like anyone else, but suddenly mine became headlines.
At the inquest 1 week later, the 10-man, 2-woman jury deliberated for 20 minutes before bringing in a verdict of justifiable homicide.
Miss Turner, could you tell me, does the decision made today, does that affect any of your plans for your daughter?
The decision that was made today?
Yes.
No. No.
What about yourself, your own future plans? Does it affect any of yours?
Well, she hadn't had time to think about her own plans.
Everything was for today.
How about the decision itself? Are you pleased with the decision?
Yes, I am.
Lana was pilloried in the press after the inquest, not only for her moral character, but for her ability to raise a child. Looking back, Lana felt that she was maligned by the press.
I'm not that weird, creepy woman that they have written about for so many years. I'm not the sex-craved, wild, up-the-wall person. I'm just a woman, a human being with my faults, foibles, whatever, and many mistakes.
But the fallout from the scandal didn't diminish her popularity with her many fans.
I can only thank my public for that they've stood by me through the hell I went through the worst kind of publicity, when there was a time I thought that I would be banished.
On Entertainment Tonight's very first broadcast in 1981, Lana told us why she appeared in so few films in later years.
Because I refused to do trash. That's why I've stayed off the screen for 3 and 4 years at a time.
She received her only Oscar nomination for the big screen soap opera Peyton Place. And one of her best roles ever was in a movie about Hollywood ruthlessness called The Bad and the Beautiful. Despite everything, Lana still loved Hollywood.
The lady is still here. The legend is still there. But I tried to slip in the truth in between.
And even with a string of unhappy marriages and brushes with scandal, Lana Turner will always be remembered as a rare mix of glamour and broken dreams, a true movie star. Lana Turner didn't get a lot of praise over the years for her performances, but you watch her in The Bad and the Beautiful, or Imitation of Life, or any number of other films, and you'll see what a real movie star, a real Hollywood movie presence is all about.
Thank you, Leonard.
Leonard, thank you. Hollywood's latest sex scandal stars 34-year-old leading man Hugh Grant and 23-year-old Divine Brown, whom police describe as a prostitute. Miss Divine, soon to be rich beyond her dreams, has rocketed to infamy overnight as the object of a frenzied worldwide tabloid search.
Did he tip or did he enjoy himself?
Oh, I want to know everything. I want to know what he said, why he said it.
Attention, Divine Brown. There are a few million people who'd like to hear from you, and tabloid publishers like Terry Raskin have even more questions about your encounter with Hugh Grant.
How was he? You know, what exactly was the nature of the transaction? Who approached whom? You know, what was the financial end of the transaction? Did she know who he was? And this is her chance for, if not 15 minutes, at least 5 minutes of fame.
Raskin expects to be outbid by the British tabloids, which have offered to pay $150,000 for a chat with Divine. But the idea of paying for such interviews is appalling to reporters like Jonathan Alter of Newsweek.
The incentive, then, is to make the story more interesting than it really is. I mean, what does she have to actually say? What is that $150,000 going to buy? We know the story.
However, Raskin says in Divine's world, money talks.
That's the sort of money that she can take and retire, or she can take and hide out. It will pay all of her legal expenses from now to time immemorial.
Reporters are not the only ones trying to track down Divine. A Hollywood talent agency posted flyers for her, claiming they already have offers from magazines and movie companies.
All types of entertainment properties are calling in wanting her because she's a huge name. And she's the flavor of the day.
Meantime, the scandal shows no signs of going away. The British tabloids are having a field day with photos of Divine. And guess who's on the cover of next week's People magazine? Those talent agents tell E.T. that Divine is already on her way to Europe for her first interview with a British tabloid.
Coming up, O.J. fights some back.
Hollywood and her fans are mourning the death of screen legend Lana Turner. She died of natural causes Thursday night. Her career covered some 50 years. Turner's personal life was often more turbulent than many of her films. CNN's Bill Tush takes a look at some of Lana Turner's more memorable moments.
Lana Turner was every inch a screen star. Even the way she was discovered, not in Schwab's drugstore, as legend would have it, but skipping school one day, drinking a Coke at the Top Hat Cafe across the street from Hollywood High.
Why does everybody wear sport clothes? What do they do in those classes? Play tag?
She was wearing a sweater and went on to be known as the Sweater Girl. She and her beautician mother had moved to California when she was 9 after her father, a mine foreman in Wallace, Idaho, was murdered during a robbery. Strangely enough, murder was to turn up later during Lana's life when her 15-year-old daughter stabbed to death Lana's longtime boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato. It was found to be justifiable homicide and hardly affected her career. A career that was guided by MGM's glamour machine. During World War II, Lana Turner ranked among the nation's top pinup girls. She made dozens of movies during the 40s and 50s, including Ziegfeld Girl in 1941.
Order me 3 of these, different colors.
Yeah, they don't come in different colors. You think the leopard's going to change his spots for you?
What else? Roadkill? For my luck.
And The Postman Always Rings Twice in 1946.
Let's swim out there, way, way out, until we're so tired that we'll just barely be able to get back.
But her love life was often more tumultuous than her movies. She married 7 times, but never wed the true love of her life, actor Tyrone Power. In 1957, she was nominated for the Best Actress Oscar for her role as Constance Mackenzie in Peyton Place.
Don't you ever let me hear you say anything like that again.
At last, it seemed she was being taken seriously as an actress. Madam X, 10 years later, was another strong performance.
This is the way. This is the festival of the world.
During the early 80s, she turned to television in the nighttime soap opera Falcon Crest. She retired after that, saying, "I don't want people looking at me and saying, 'Gosh, she's old.' I want my fans to remember me as I was." In May of 1992, she was diagnosed with throat cancer, leaving the autobiography she wrote to tell the rest of her story. It was called Lana, the Lady, the Legend, the Truth. And true to the image of the ultimate screen siren, its 300 torrid pages became an instant bestseller.
When she died, Lana Turner was 75.